Welcome to Prime Sports with me, Daniel Kranting, and the Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, has outlined plans to boost revenue generation for the Sports Ministry and the National Sports Authority. He made this known when he appeared before the Public Accounts Committee earlier today. My colleague, Penty Jijo, has more in this report.
But to really enjoy once upon a time in your life. You also have a chance to network, because you never know where the next business, in quote, connection is going to come from. It may be from the World Cup. It may be from the beach in Miami. You never know. So having this opportunity or creating this platform through our amazing partnership.
Speaking on the issue of increasing revenue for the Sports Ministry and the National Sports Authority, the minister revealed that the Fixed Assets Coordinating Unit of the NSA has been deployed to properly assess the authority's assets and determine their true value. According to him, the aim is not only to wait for individuals or organizations to rent facilities, but also for the NSA to take proactive steps in organizing programs and activities that will make use of these facilities and generate more income.
To a large extent, we received these findings, we've looked at it, and what we do know, steps taken. One, the Fixed Asset Coordinating Unit of the National Sports Authority have been deployed to effectively assess these assets and to consider their true value, and also to look at potential programs and activities that can be done. And also not necessarily to wait for people to come and rent, whether even as National Sports Authority itself, we can drive activity and programs towards our facilities. So it will result in increase in what? Revenue. So we're looking at many options to be able to drive revenue and ramp it up a bit.
On the issue of the Nkoko Sports Stadium, which was in a deplorable state before efforts by the Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Dr. Brian Champon, to renovate the facility, the Director General of the NSA disclosed that he has no information regarding the cause of the stalled project.
Sometime in September 2020, the then Minister for Youth and Sports cut sword for the reconstruction of the Nkoko Sports Stadium. The project was awarded to Fahadel Company Limited and was said to cost 27 million Ghana cedis. It was to be funded by the Middle Belt Development Authority. The project, however, stalled along the line, and per documents or reports presented to me, there was no specific reason given.
He explained that the sword for reconstruction was cut in September 2020 by the then Minister for Youth and Sports, with the project estimated to cost 27 million Ghana cedis and funded by the Middle Belt Development Authority. The Sports Minister also disclosed that a new board will soon be inaugurated to oversee the proper implementation of the e-ticketing system for sporting events nationwide. According to him, the initiative is part of the broader efforts to prevent revenue leakages that have long affected the management of Ghana's sports facilities. He explained that the existing manual ticketing process has created loopholes, resulting in financial inconsistencies despite large attendance at stadiums.
So there are a number of steps that we are also introducing, and when we improve networking, which we haven't completely done yet, ticketing to our stadia facility during games time will no longer be 100% manual, where somebody can go and before you realize some people are printing something else and selling that one other than the real ticket. So you see the numbers at the stadium, but then when it comes to accounting for the money, less is presented. So we want to do some e-ticketing that brings about a lot more transparency. Aside that, when the money gets into the coffers, its use must follow through the standard accounting procedures and the financial regulations act that exist in this country. So you can't just take and spend anyhow. So where the threshold is way above, for example, the National Sports Authority, the ministry will have to come in and give the necessary approval. Very soon also, we will inaugurate the board for the National Sports Authority, and they would also perform their appropriate duty. We will see to it that they perform what they are supposed to do and to engender and improve the transparency and accountability processes, which the honorable member is so concerned about.
Ghana Football Association, they have signed a partnership agreement with lottery company Rambel ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The partnership, which was supervised by the National Lottery Authority, the NLA, will see fans battle for the opportunity to be among selected groups to go and watch the Mundial in USA, Canada, and Mexico next year. The announcement of the partnership took place at the GFA Secretariat earlier today.
But to really enjoy once upon a time in your life. You also have a chance to network, because you never know where the next business, in quote, connection is going to come from. It may be from the World Cup. It may be from the beach in Miami. You never know. So having this opportunity or creating this platform through our amazing partnership with Rambel, with the full blessings of the NLA, means a lot to the Football Association, because we care about our fans. We don't want to go alone. Throughout the journey, you've been with us. And on occasion where we have to play beyond the shores of Ghana, like it has always been, we want Ghana to be with us. I want a situation where when our players turn around after the national anthem, they see the entire stadium filled with Ghanaians. This is what I'm looking forward to.
Now, the Ghana Football Association has announced plans to organize a testimonial match in honor of former Black Stars captain and striker Asamoah Gyan. The country's football governing body says the match will celebrate his illustrious and immense contribution to Ghanaian football, with further details expected in due course. Gyan retired back in 2023 following 2 years of inactivity, aged 37. He holds a record as Ghana's all-time top scorer with 51 goals in 109 appearances for the Black Stars. Now, joining us on Zoom to discuss this is Black Stars team manager and Dreams FC general manager Aminu Shadu. Aminu, thank you very much for joining us. Good evening. And how important is something like this?
It's extremely important because aside the fact that we are using it to honor a distinguished personality, somebody who has given everything for this nation, it also serves as a sign of a nation that appreciates its heroes, and it encourages other players to also give up their best, because they know at the end of the day they will be well appreciated. So for me, this is long overdue, and I'm very, very happy that finally the GFA is taking the lead into getting these things done, not leaving it into the hands of private individuals. Testimonials that have been done in recent times have been at the behest of private organizations and private individuals. It's very, very important that the relevant authorities and organizations take charge of this situation. And I'm so happy that finally the GFA is starting off with something very, very befitting for a legend like Asamoah Gyan.
Aminu, when it comes to testimonials, the culture isn't really big in Ghanaian football, but do you think that this is something that in its state that should be maintained going forward, not just for Gyan, but other players also?
I think you rightly mentioned it. We don't do testimonials in this part of our country, but of the world, also owing to a myriad of reasons. Chiefly amongst them is that the fact that some of the players even don't want to accept that it's time for them to hang up their boots and to make the announcement, so that it paves way for officialdom to then take over. we know the history about Ghanaian players and their persistence on playing, even when it's very, very glaring that they've passed their useful stage. And therefore, no organization, and especially the GFA cannot take charge of organizing a testimonial if you, the player yourself, have not announced your retirement from football. So I think we are all learning, the players are learning. First and foremost, I think it took quite too long for Asamoah to make that announcement when it was quite clear that he wasn't, he's transitioning into other things. And so, but it's better late than never. So once you make that announcement, then it paves the way for the GFA to start considering honoring you with such testimonials. And I'm very, very sure that the GFA will do a good job. If you recall, Kurt Okeku in his private capacity, organized, the testimonial for Sami Kufo, I think back in 2013 or so. We had Primeval Media, Chief Larry, also organizing, a testimonial for Stephen Appiah. So we've left this in the hands of private individuals. And I'm even advocating that even though the GFA has taken the lead to organize testimonial for Asamoah, and it's very, very important that the state takes keen interest in the organization of such testimonial, because Asamoah didn't only serve football, he served Ghana, the state Ghana, and we enjoyed from him in diverse ways aside football. Of course, football was the lead. So I'm advocating that even though the GFA is taking the lead in trying to organize this testimonial, it's very, very important that the state itself, through the sports ministry and other relevant authorities, come on board to ensure that we give this legend a very befitting testimonial.
Let's talk about Gyan himself, the individual. We've seen this year especially that he's been involved with the Black Stars. You are team manager. How important has his presence been within the group, especially during this time?
Well, I was also privileged in my position to have worked very, very closely with him when I was part of his, I was more or less his publicist when I was working on his website. This is a guy whose dedication to Ghana is unmatched. I've seen at close range how he prepares, especially when a tournament is coming up, how he prepares himself physically, psychologically, mentally, and always how he prepares and goes into a tournament. And it's no surprise to me at all that he achieved memorable feat with the national team. Now, that experience that he brings, that knowledge that he shares with the current crop, and mind you, some of the players, the current crop of players, looked up to Gyan when he was at his peak. Antoine Semenyo, in the recent interview, even alluded to the fact that he used to go to his uncle's home to watch Asamoah, especially during the 2010 World Cup. So to have such a huge figure as part of the staff around the team, for me, it's a big, big plus. They know what goes through the mindset of a player pre-game, post-game, when results don't go well, when we are prepared for a crucial game, even to give tips on how to even position yourself as a striker to get the right passes and then to the right technique to apply to slot it home. It has been so immense. And I'm very, very, whenever people like Stephen Appiah, Asamoah, and the likes are in camp, I'm so happy because they make the work so easier for me as a team manager, because like I told you previously, as a team manager, I'm like a psychologist, I'm the administrator, I'm everything. So when they are there, I more or less take the back seat, and because they've been there, they've done that, they've had the experience, and they command enormous respect from the players. It makes it so easier in transmitting this knowledge onto the younger ones. And for me, I think we should encourage more and more former internationals to be involved with the national teams.
Aminu, I can't bring you here without talking about your club. We saw the CAF Champions League draw done yesterday. Again, there was no Ghanaian team. Now, there's been a recurring conversation almost every time this draw is done without a Ghanaian team. What do we need to do in your capacity where you sit for us to return Ghanaian teams to that level where we'll be competing with the best of Africa?
We need to invest. We need to invest heavily. If you look at the clubs that we are competing against for qualification to the group stage of the competition, if you look at their resource base and you compare, you know that we simply can't compete. But you see, we have one trump card that most of these clubs or these powerhouses as they are now don't have. We have the natural God-given talent. We have it. And that's how come Dreams FC, an unknown entity like Dreams FC, for the first time ever in African club competition, went all the way to the semi-final, losing to the eventual winners, Samalek. And through that experience, I saw how teams prepared themselves, how the states were involved in helping pushing their clubs to the highest level. I recall one example when we traveled to Stade Malien and the quarterfinal of the Confederation Cup. We beat them 2-1 there. Could you believe that they arrived in Ghana around the same time that we arrived? Because they took a chartered flight ordered by the states. I think it was the Air Force aircraft of Mali, straight to Kumasi. And we had to take what we call the trotro, the transit. You had to go through Togo, Guinea, Togo, and then get to Accra, disembark and use the bus all the way to Kumasi to play the match. So this gives you a clear example, and all because we didn't have the resources to fly the team straight to Kumasi, and it had a telling effect on the performance of the players. We were lucky to even escape with a draw, a 1-1 draw, if you recall. They scored first, and we had to scramble to get to equalize just to make the semi-final. This is a clear example of what it takes for us to get there. We need, heavy investment in infrastructure, investment in the playing body, so that we can retain more of our quality players, so that when they go out there, they don't have any inferiority complex or so. What is also very, very key is that we need to have a consistent level of participation of clubs in Africa. So, for instance, Dreams FC, when we participated in the Confederation Cup 2 seasons ago, failed to qualify for Africa again. Now, all the networking that I harnessed during that campaign, the fact that I could call people from all over Africa to book hotels, and even do operations, proper operations, you know what I mean? All that network, by the time Dreams FC returns to Africa, would have gone, and then we have to start from the second scratch. So it's very, very important that we get a consistent team from Ghana that is always going to the group stages, going to the latter parts of the Confederation Cup, but all relies heavily on investment. So for me, it's I'm very clear in my mind that if we get a good injection of investment in our local game, we will compete very, very favorably in African club competitions.
Thank you very much. Aminu Shadow, he's a Black Stars team manager and general manager of Dreams FC. Now, Eastern Region, they etched their name into the history books after overcoming Bronga for 4-2 on penalties to clinch the maiden MTN Elite Under-19 Championships at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram on Sunday. Elsewhere, Greater Accra also secured a well-deserved bronze after defeating Ashanti Region 2-0 in the third-place player of Greater Accra's Yusuf Sani emerged as a standout performer of the competition, sweeping 2 individual honors as the most valuable player and the goal king after netting 5 goals in 6 matches. Eastern Region's Ismail Azagono was named the best goalkeeper, while his teammate Prince Boache received the most promising player award. Organizing committee chairman and MP for K2 North, Edem Agbana, is positive that this is just the beginning of the laudable initiative.
Amazing, amazing. You can see the feeling here. This is football, quality football, made here in Ghana, made here in Pram Pram. I think that generally it has been a very, very successful championship, very successful tournament. We have seen quality display of good football. We have seen discipline, we've seen teamwork, we've seen all the emotions at play and all the exciting things that have happened here today. I want to thank President of the GFA, Mr. Kurt Okreku, for putting together this tournament. Amazing tournament, amazing game we have seen, and you can see the joy here, the enthusiasm here. This tells me one thing: Ghana has got the potentials. All that the young boys and girls across the length and breadth of this country are waiting for is the opportunity to showcase their talent. And that is what the Elite U19 has done. Great football, great teamwork, beautiful display of emotion. I'm so excited, and I'm grateful to my team for making this a huge success.
Is this going to be a 9-day wonder?
No, definitely. I mean, we can see this beautiful thing and allow it to go. I'm sure all of you, including the president of the GFA and all the other stakeholders, will see the need to make this an annual event. We will make it sustainable. And we can promise you one thing, together with my committee members, next year will be bigger, bigger, and better. Beautiful football. It will not end here. This is just the beginning.
That's all for Prime Sports with me, Daniel Cranting. Thanks for your time.